You want me to put that on my Tudor?
This One's Wife. Living in the Past. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This One's Wife, propelled by her narcissism, bagged Prince Harry, and then came up against the edifice that was the royal family, an institution that had stood for centuries, and it was not going to give way to the demands of one individual. Her narcissism compelled her, rather than to bolt on the institution, to fight it, and she lost. In her mind, she didn't, of course. She simply utilised what had apparently happened to her, mainly revisions of history and a skewed perspective, to bleat about being picked upon, that she was treated to racist behaviour, and that she played again and again and again the victim. The typical victim behaviour of the middle-range narcissist that This One's Wife is. At the time, Megxit occurred, and it was meant to be the freedom of escaping the shackles of the royal family, an antiquated, racist institution that had treated these two young people so badly. Harry apparently not realising he was trapped until his saviour, Saint This One's Wife of all things narcissistic, came along and took him away from the grip of the royal family and caused him to woke from home, making him realise that he had been trapped and that his brother and his father still were, but didn't realise it. She envisaged an entirely golden future. They would escape the dark and damp nature of the royal family in rainy Britain, and instead it would all be sunset walks along the Californian coast, reaping millions upon millions of dollars as people welcomed them as an alternative court in California, royals in exile, but who were actually the goodies and not the baddies. This One's Wife envisaged that was the way that it would play out, that this was the way that they would conduct themselves, that they would be able to have all of the attention, all of the flattery, the praise and admiration, and along with it, it would enable her subconsciously to manage that facade and portray herself as a wonderful human being and make her very wealthy. That she would be able to turn back and throw brickbats across the Atlantic towards the royal family, and that the people would all go, "Oh, Saint This One's Wife, you are but amazing and wonderful. How blessed we are to have you." But then along came the horn of ridicule, and it declared that actually all of that was hogwash. And it has prompted Camilla Tominey of The Telegraph to ask where they find themselves now. Is that really the progressive new role that she envisaged for herself when she dropped the Megxit bombshell? Tominey writes, "Not for the first time, something slightly weird went on with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex." Following reports that Harry and This One's Wife were planning to snub the King's 75th birthday celebrations on Tuesday, see parts passim, a spokesman issued a denial, insisting there has been no contact regarding an invitation to His Majesty's upcoming birthday. Then a friend popped up to suggest that the story had been leaked to divert attention from the King and Queen's recent visit to Kenya, where His Majesty faced cause to apologise for Britain's colonial past. Considering the trip to Kenya didn't go well, this might be a welcome distraction, they said. Meanwhile, we had cheerleaders like the improbably named plastic-faced Lieutenant Omid Scobie on X, formerly known as Twitter, questioning the out-of-touch optics of the King and Queen walking on a red carpet that had been laid out for them at Nairobi National Park. Some suspect that the Sussexes were possibly employing their own tactics, for they issued the birthday denial as reports emerged of the couple flying to a Katy Perry concert by a private jet. The return trip from California to Las Vegas didn't quite live up to the rhetoric of a joint statement they posted on Instagram in 2019, which read, "There is a ticking clock to protect our planet. With climate change, the deterioration of our natural resources, endangerment of sacred wildlife, the impact of plastics and microplastics, and fossil fuel emissions, we are jeopardizing this beautiful place we call home for ourselves and for future generations." Yet this do as I say, not as I doism, which of course is the hypocrisy of the narcissist, could also be said to apply to Prince Harry's ongoing battle against the media. The Duke, 39, has now been given the green light to sue the publisher of the Daily Mail, as well as the publisher of The Sun, for alleged unlawful information gathering. The trial against the latter has been pushed back until 2025, meaning there will be another year of Harry against the press. Tominay asks, was this really the progressive new role the Sussexes envisaged for themselves when they dropped their Megxit bombshell? Some might think they are spending more time looking backwards than forwards. And indeed, that is the case. This one's wife looks backwards. She brings up the past because her narcissism causes us to do so by bringing up the past to influence the now. Harry is driven by what she tells him to do. With his own paranoia, which she has cultivated and exacerbated in relation to the press, he similarly has failed to let the past lie and has resurrected it. This activity demonstrates the fact that they remain stuck in the past, that they are not dealing with what the future might hold for them. And the reason for this is very simple. They've got nothing else to offer. The future sounds like this. It's a barren wasteland for them. Harry has nothing to offer other than knowing how to provide service. And if he'd remained in the royal family, he would have been able to continue doing that. This one's wife was an actress. Not a particularly good one, nor a particularly bad one, but has nothing else to offer. She doesn't want to go back to acting. She sees it as a step backwards. There's much vaunted talk, yet it still doesn't appear, of her relaunching the TIG or something similar and returning to Instagram. Thus, she's not offering anything new. She would merely be bringing up the past of being an influencer and someone flogging vagina eggs or whatever it might be. There's no brave new world with her. Nothing to offer, nothing exciting, because she hasn't got the talent. And therefore all she can do is either bring up the past by way of complaints and victimhood that have been aired so many times it becomes mind-numbingly tedious, or to fall back on what she used to do, namely flog a website and be an influencer. Hardly progressive at all, as Tominay notes. What are the observations below the line, though, of Telegraph readers? Well, Fran Morley states, I had high hopes and expectations for them when they left, that they would just live the life of any other wealthy but private celebrity couple, meaning stay mostly out of the news, which you all thought is what they wanted. I figured we'd see photos of them and their children a few times a year for some special occasions, but otherwise they would live a quiet private life. Boy, was I wrong. And of course, that's wrong as a consequence of the fact that she is a narcissist and therefore must appear publicly. Miss Scarlett writes, got to feel a bit sorry for Harry, too dim to realise what she was doing when she dumped his family and friends, not bright enough to get a job, just dossing around that huge mansion all day, every day, until she wants to go out, either striding 3 paces in front of him or clinging onto him like a toddler in a high wind, usually inappropriately dressed and grinning madly. Must be very lonely, and it's no wonder he always looks so angry. Still, you make your bed and all that. Carpe Ugulum writes, there is, alas, No way forward for these two. A clear path would need a talent to navigate it. This one's wife was a mediocre actress in a mediocre role in a mediocre soap whose career was going nowhere. The sole reason Harry got into Sandhurst was his status as a member of the royal family. He then failed so many segments of helicopter training he could never be pilot in command. Neither have any scientific expertise, neither are intellectual giants. They pontificate, pronounce, peddle puerile phrases, and do not do much else. The Prince and the Showgirl could have been a smiley-face rom-com. Now it's just boring. Owen Thomas. Plus there's the faux Royal Poppy Day trip to some US Navy SEALs, the faux British Royals interfering in US military matters. It's like they missed the home royal tour they reputedly so hated as staid and pointless, so much they try and invent it for the United States. SSSS. They are bitter, embittered, boring, irrelevant, and jealous of the King and Kate and William. Prince Harry will massively regret his actions as he gets older. No one respects him. G.C. Kennedy writes, actually the King's visit to Kenya went very well, according to my friends who were in Kenya. Sam Pepys, what happens when all these historic scores Harry wants to settle with the media have been completed? He'll be a bitter 40-year-old prince with no meaningful role ahead at all. Son of a king, brother of a future king, alienated from both. Andrew Evans, vile pair of woke climate hypocrites. Just awful people. Barbara Finney, she may have a brain, but by the treatment of her father she demonstrates she has absolutely no heart. Sadly, Harry has no brain. Amanda Malas, there are a couple of hypocritical losers. Harry's role in life has come down to suing newspapers. Is this because this talentless couple have no other means of making a living? Why would the King invite them to anything? They totally trashed our royal family and caused the late Queen and Prince Philip so much grief in the last couple of years with their vicious lies. I hope they never return to our shores. Rob Lumley, maybe we can have a press blackout on the gruesome twosome going forward. No one really cares about the Monty shit show too. No support whatsoever. And you'll note the theme identifying that they're a duo devoid of talent. And this is the outcome. That instead of forging a brave new world, all this one's wife can do is play the same stuck record. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.